You're listening to Garibaldi Red, a Nottingham Forest podcast brought to you by Nottinghamshire Live.
Hello all, welcome to a bit of a mini Garibaldi Red. Should have added myself to the screen there straight away. Sorry, I was at the City Ground today covering the game, so I thought I'd do a bit of a review for the next 10 minutes or so. Maybe answer some questions and some comments as we go along. It's finished Nottingham Forest 1, Wolves 1. In the very bitter battle at the bottom of the Premier League, Forest took the lead through Brennan Johnson in the first half. Lovely finish to the keeper's legs after good work by Danilo. And then Wolves levelled, 83 minutes. Daniel Podence, good finish. Wolves' only shot on target, probably the only real moment of quality in front of goal from them. So a real kick in the teeth for Forest. Wolves had 72% possession, I think, but Forest had 17 shots on goal. As you can see how the game played out for us as ever, trying to hit Wolves on the break, rely on the speed on the counter-attack with Johnson, Dennis and Gibbs-White. It worked quite well. A few changes in midfield and changes in general. So no Ryan Yates, I assume through injury, but I've just done Lopetegui's press conference, but come away from Steve Cooper's to speak to you now. So Clapton's there for us doing that. So you might ask about Yates or one of the other journalists. But Danilo came in alongside Mangala and Freuler in a slightly different midfield and moved back to 4-3-3 from 4-2-3-1. Nico Williams playing right back instead of the injured Serge Aurier, and Renan Lodi didn't start. I think it's because his wife or fiance has just had a baby in Brazil, so that's why he was on the bench. So I can see the comments coming in. Let's see, people feeling gutted, people commenting on the subs, and people saying mostly that we played well. I'll just scroll through and then I'll pick up on a couple. Let's touch on the Worrell one, taking Dennis off. I think as a hindsight one, it probably didn't work, but I wasn't sat here at the time thinking, what's he doing there? I don't think we were people saying we were in control of the game. Watching from the press box, I don't think we were. It was a bit, Wolves again, like I say, they have more of the ball. Forest trying to contain them. I think Worrell actually did quite well when he came on. We looked better. If we see the game out, then we're probably sitting here saying it was a job well done. I don't know. Maybe it was, with hindsight, maybe it was the wrong sub. Maybe Forest win the game with Dennis on and you put Kouyaté in midfield. It'd be interesting to see what Cooper says about that. What I would say is Forest should have had that game wrapped up. Subs or not, the players out there had enough opportunities on the break to put that game away. Emmanuel Dennis in particular got in down the left a couple of times. I thought he had a good game. He's just so predictable. That move back inside, cutting back in. Players just reading it all the time now, and he didn't get his shot away when he should have done, or feed it to, I think Brennan Johnson was at the back post one time. But you can't blame it solely on him. Other opportunities to put the game to bed. Didn't really take them, didn't work Jose Sarr enough. So it does feel like a kick in the teeth. It does feel like 2 points dropped. But overall, you come away from the game, and for me, Forest played well. There are a lot of improved performances. We come away from matches a lot of times recently. If we were rating players in our heads, I think there'd be a lot of 5 out of 10s from recent performances. I don't think there were today. Go through a few players who I thought played well. But overall, I think Forest should have won the game. Plenty of good moments. A couple of other points to pick up on around VAR as usual. Podence spitting at Brennan Johnson. I must admit, I saw they put the I'm looking up here, you can't see it. Villa Chelsea games on actually, but they show the VAR checks during the match, and it did look like Podence spat at Brennan Johnson. I must admit, I was surprised that it wasn't given. I think maybe the argument was that nothing came out of his mouth or something. I don't know. He clearly, to me personally, looked like he spat at him. There are a few other contentious issues, a couple of penalty calls. Brennan Johnson booked for diving. I thought that was very harsh, but it wasn't a nailed-on penalty, so it wasn't going to get overturned. So I feel Brennan was a bit unlucky there, and he had a really good first half. And if Forest are going to stay up, then I think he's going to be the man. He's tucks the ball through the keeper's legs, really good finish. Class moment of the game. The other one was at the other end, which sparked this mass brawl, which I'll talk about. Or brawls, too big a word. Scuffle, where Traore went down under Felipe's challenge. Again, I think if the ref had given it, it wouldn't have been overturned by VAR. But not giving it to me was the correct decision. Not enough in it to give it. And then both benches cleared, a bit ice hockey style. Not for the first time between these teams. There's some needle between them. And it ended with Alan Tate having hold of Pablo Sanz, the Wolves assistant manager, vice versa. Both sent off, probably rightly so. Lopetegui was asked about it in the press conference after he's talked about controlling emotions and how he tries to do that. But every time he's been here, he's lost his head, and his staff have lost their heads as well. So I don't know. It's easy to say that, but he hasn't demonstrated it. And probably Forest, to be fair, can do a bit better in that sense as well. Overall, the ref, Chris Kavanagh, I thought he had a poor game. It's easy to sit here and say that, and we often say it, but he missed fouls for both sides. There was a couple of two, like Mangala, good tackle in midfield, foul given, didn't see it at all. I thought, just looking at players who have played well, I thought Felipe had a really good game at the back. I think he's been the outstanding signing in January. Not proving to be a tough battle at the moment, is it really? Because Shelvey was dropped to the bench. I thought rightly so. He didn't get on. Chris Wood's obviously injured. Danilo I'll mention in a minute. He came in. But I thought Felipe had an excellent game. Didn't really put a foot wrong. Good on the ball. Good in the air. Good defensively in the tackle as well. Absolute key player. Niakate was much better alongside him. I thought he struggled against Newcastle, understandably, as we said on the podcast, but looked much better here. And the two fullbacks, the two deputy fullbacks, I thought they did well. I'll just scroll down and see what the Nico Williams comments say. I know you could argue who's at fault for the goal, but I thought you have to give credit to the guy Podence who scored it. I don't think Nico had a bad game at all. He absolutely bailed Navas out in the first half when he didn't come for a cross. And Williams headed it behind and did a good job. So the back four looks solid. I like the midfield. I thought Danilo had a good game. Bit unusual seeing him push so far advanced after the substitution, but he's good on the ball. He's a good threat. He can't finish, so he's a central midfielder. I'm not sure why he played so high up the pitch, but I did like what I saw from him. And if we can stay up, I think he'll be a big player next season. And if we go in the Championship and he's still here, he'll be a big player as well. I would certainly hope. Let's see. Freuler? Any negative comments about Freuler? I thought he was all right. Silly yellow card, someone says in the comments. That's a reasonable comment. Didn't really need to do that. But generally, good stuff. And then up front, Gibbs White's obviously very motivated. Lots of great skill in tight situations. Still lacks that end product, doesn't he? But had a good game. Brennan Johnson is the outstanding player in this team by a long way. Too good for Totti in the first half, the makeshift left back Wolves, and thought he did really well. And then Dennis, as I mentioned, lots of good moments, lots of frustration. I think that's him. I think you have to accept it. So he is what he is. I know people are going to say it was strange to take him off. Mate, I think if Awoniyi's a bit fitter, then Awoniyi comes on, and he had his moments when he came on, and he broke away, and the Wolves player tried to put his shorts down, basically, which looked odd. So another opportunity to put the game to bed. I think one of Forest's problems is they just have this one way of playing. Every team that comes here dominates possession. So. Excuse me. Forest 30% possession every game. It's hard to win, consistently doing that. I know it can be done. We've seen it other teams in the Premier League doing it. It would be nice if they could just retain the ball a little bit more. The midfield doesn't seem to have that bit of composure that you need. But I did think midfield had a better game today. It's obviously, if people watch the podcast know it's my gripe, but I thought they were much improved today, and I'd like to see, if Ryan Yates isn't fit to play Leeds on Tuesday, I think I'd like to see that midfield three again. I thought they did a good job. I don't think Shelvey was particularly missed today. They looked more combative and they were harder to beat. Wolves got good players in that area, and Forest weren't massively troubled by them. So overall, yeah, kick in the teeth. I hope it doesn't cost Forest. You feel coming away from this game, they should have won. And it drags them. Well, it doesn't drag. They've actually moved a little bit further away from the relegation zone as it stands. But West Ham have got a game in hand or two now. Everton haven't played yet. Bournemouth have won today, and you see Bournemouth have gone up to, I think I've got the table in front of me, bear with me one sec. Bournemouth have gone up to 15th. I mean, Bournemouth to me have always looked like the team going down, but they've won 2 out of 3. That's what we need from Forest now. We need to find an away win, find an away performance at Leeds, get something. That is exactly what they need, and if they can do that, then they've got every chance of staying up. I think Palace have won today. That takes them a little bit clear. They're now 5 points clear of the drop because they beat Leicester. So you kind of feel another couple of wins for them, they're out of it. But everyone down from 13th is still right in the thick of it. And I know we've got a really hard run in. Every team's got hard fixtures to come. I think Forest have got a slightly harder run in, I do recognise that. But if we can now get a couple of points away, I do still think that we can beat anyone at home. Obviously, should have won today. I think we can still give a Man United a good game here, a Brighton a good game here. Brighton, I think they drew with Brentford today. So certainly all's not lost. And it's important to point out, obviously, the stories about Steve Cooper last night being under pressure if they don't win, or probably losing his job if they don't win. Certainly not heard anything right now as we talk about him going on the back of a draw. I mean, it feels way too late to me to sack him. I would stick with Steve Cooper now, even if Forest go down, because he feels like the man to bring them back up. I know they're not perfect, and I think people can make reasonable arguments that he's made errors, but I don't think you're going to bring anyone in to do a better job than him with all these injuries, all these signings, everything that's gone against Forest this season. I still think Cooper's the man for the job, and that was borne out by the crowd here. Huge reception for him, loads of chanting during the match. Everyone, you can see the players are totally behind him. So I don't think there's any question of him losing the fans in the ground or the players. Obviously, he is under pressure. I think that's pretty clear. Evangelos Marinakis has big ambitions for this football club, and going down certainly isn't in his plan. So I think Steve Cooper's going to need to get some results soon. They're probably going to need to win. What are they going to need to win? 3 more games still from 10. Quarter of the season to go, basically. A quarter of the season to still be in this position. Where are we? 14th in the Premier League. 27 points. Probably needing another 9 points from 10 games. A point a game. I mean, you should be able to do that. They might just have to slightly overperform what they've done so far on fixtures. But don't forget, they've beaten Liverpool here. They've drawn with Chelsea, drawn with Man City. They should have won today. My worry is that today is going to come back and bite them on the arse, really, because this was a game where they should have won. They should have beaten Everton here as well. I mean, one thing they did do today was cut out the silly errors. They haven't given a stupid penalty away. They haven't shot themselves in the foot completely. I think in this occasion you give Podence credit for having that moment of quality that not many other people had in the game. Pat in the comments says, in all honesty, today's result makes us more likely to go down, probably marginally, but it's very tight. I mean, it's so close at the bottom. Every fan of every team is going to be equally as worried as Forest, I would imagine. A win at Leeds would transform everything, but it's easy for me to sit here and say that. Forest actually got to go and do and deliver something. So, right, I've talked for 15 minutes. We will be back on Monday with a full podcast with much more considered analysis than this. I've just kind of waffled at people and kind of tried to respond to the comments. So hopefully people have taken something from it. Back on Monday about 10 or 11 a.m. Lineup to be confirmed. Have a good weekend, everyone. It would have been a real kick in the teeth to lose this game. It would have been a bit Forest to concede from a 95th minute corner, but they didn't. They got a point. You're either glass half full or you're glass half empty afterwards, but hopefully you enjoy drinking whatever half of the glass is left at the weekend, and we shall see you on Monday.